So here we are, it's day 2 of Marren's Magical Mayo, and after the exploits of being in Belmullet and all that wonderful area yesterday, day 2 starts in Westport. Now we know Westport is a bustling commercial town that has throngs and throngs of tourists practically all year round. We've just left Westport a couple of minutes ago and it is absolutely buzzing. So today our trek for day 2 takes us first of all to Croagh. I mean, we couldn't do a trip of Mayo without taking in Croagh, and as you can see behind me, it's looking absolutely splendid today. And after I had a look at Croagh and deciding I wasn't climbing it for obvious reasons, I came upon this amazing Famine Memorial here behind me. And as luck would have it, as I was making my way down the path, who did I come upon? Only the administrator of Westport Parish. He's also the custodian of the church of here at Croagh, and that is our great friend Father Charlie. Charlie, good to talk to you, and thanks. I mean, obviously God was at work here.
Obviously, Tommy, and welcome to magical Murrisk and the Canvey and the surrounding areas. Yeah, as people would often describe, we're living in God's pocket. You just have to look out there over towards our friends in Mulranny and Newport and Achill and the absolute beauty of Clew Bay, because you feel the word cocooned is so popular at the moment, but you feel very safely cocooned here in this beautiful place.
Now, the Croagh is well known, so we don't really have to talk about it a lot. And I know that people aren't allowed to climb it at the moment. But just tell us a small little bit of history about that church on the top.
Well, I suppose, first of all, there's no problem climbing it. And you can see today's a lovely day for climbing it, in that there's plenty of room in the car park behind us, thanks be to God. It's just to keep away from the weekends if we can at all. So the church on the top, very interesting story about how the church got there. The church is very much part of the Celtic revival in the early 1900s, 1903, 1904, 1905. Built by, indeed, almost a namesake of myself, my own Canon McDonnell, who was my predecessor inside in Westport. And Archbishop Healy, who was the Archbishop of Tuam at the time, was big into Celtic revival. And he was the one who brought the pilgrimage back after the famine times and after emancipation and all of that. Around the early 1900s, the pilgrimage to Croagh came back and the church came back with it. Now, the story goes that Canon McDonnell was inside in Westport and he came across a preacher of, let's say, another denomination, and he decided to literally, physically strike out at him. So the canon ended up in court. So all the locals put a few pound together to get the canon off, but the canon got off without their few pound and actually used the money to start building the church on the top of Croagh.
It is. It's a small church, but it's absolutely beautiful, and one that people should try and make that trip up to and climb. So then I came down and I saw this amazing thing, this Famine Memorial behind us. Paint the picture, Charlie.
Well, I suppose it's here since 1997, which was the 150th anniversary of Black 47, which we're all aware of. It's Behan that put it together. And basically, I suppose, we hear so much now about people, maybe refugees coming from other countries on small boats and dying on the way. Our own people were in that place over 150 years ago. So to commemorate it, back in 1997, the famine ship was put here. And I suppose it was very poignant that it was put at the heart of the west of Ireland. At the time, it was opened by Mary Robinson. Now the National Famine Memorial Day takes place throughout the country, because there is an acknowledgement that there are so many places that were affected by the famine, but none less than here in Mayo. So that's where it comes from. There's also, I think, 50 replicas of the famine ship. We're delighted to have one inside in Westport ourselves, and I know one was in the Taoiseach's office when Enda Kenny was there. So there's a good few of them around the place.
Fantastic. And who actually made this?
So Behan was the artist, still with us, and as you can see, he was commissioned to do it back, as I say, in 1997. And it is a fabulous piece, and it gets, people who come to the area will know nothing about our history, know nothing about the famine. They come in, and it's very stark. You can see what you're looking at there basically is skeletons, and they're across the bow of the ship and all over the ship. And the reality was, as you know, so many of our own people perished when they went to America and they went overseas, and this commemorates that. And that, I suppose, that it is here on holy ground under Croagh, I think, is a memorial not just to the event, but a memorial to the people as well. And that's absolutely tremendous,
I could talk to you all day, but I don't have time because I'm on a holiday. But I see down there in the trees this amazing, what looks like a friary. What is it?
That's Murrisk Abbey. It's there since the middle of the 15th century. Now, it wasn't there for long with monks in it, an Augustinian abbey, but actually the reality is the building outlasted the people. Very much connected with Grace O'Malley as well. Her family would have provided the land for the abbey. And an interesting fact, her son, Turlough de Burgo, who's buried actually in Ballintubber Abbey, he presented a chalice to the abbey back in the 16th century, which still exists, stolen by Ballintubber. They have his body, so they have his chalice as well. But it's there, and it's a tremendous link again with the history. Like, I've actually used that chalice myself in Westport. Small but valuable and priceless with regards its link to the past.
Well, listen, Father Charlie, thank you so much for giving us that lovely insight. So just not come to climb Croagh, Patrick. You can also see this beautiful Famine Memorial behind me, and of course the Augustinian Friary, and the views of Clew Bay are just quite stunning. We've got to move on, Charlie, but thank you so much for being with us.
Good, Tommy. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay, we're off.